Hello, everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. How is everyone doing this evening? Welcome back to the Welcome to Asgard podcast. Man, it feels like it has been forever since I have been doing much of anything. As those who have been following me on social media, on the Discord know, I have been sick for the last few days. Found out just the other day that I was sick with the coof. But I am on the mend and recovering, so I figured why not talk a little bit about that, because I've learned quite a bit through my experience with the coof. I'm now actually having some firsthand experience with the coof, so we'll talk about that. We'll also talk, of course, about Thor: Love and Thunder's box office, because we got some numbers coming in that do not look all that great for the film. And even though the film definitely still has an opportunity to reach its break-even point, the chances of it falling well behind where Thor Ragnarok ended up and just barely over its break-even, or at the very least only marginally successful at the box office, being very high, well, let's just say, couldn't happen to a nicer company. But before going any further, please make sure you smash that like button, loud that fire button if you're watching over on Odyssey. And welcome back. So glad to be here. And again, I want to say thank you to everyone for your kind words, for your thoughts, for your prayers during this time of recovery. Luckily, only really had a couple of days of symptoms before started feeling better really just this morning, I guess. Yeah, because I started showing symptoms on, started showing symptoms on Thursday. That's why, yeah, it was Thursday where I started showing symptoms, had to cancel my OMB report live stream because basically the way that it started for me, I guess I'll just kick things right off the bat. The way it started for me was that my resting heart rate was kind of off the charts. It was very bizarre. You know, normally my resting heart rate's around 60 beats or so, and my resting heart rate was around 100 beats, and it wasn't going down. And so immediately I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. And then I also started feeling lightheaded. And I thought, okay, this is definitely weird. I definitely think there's something going on here. So I ended up having to go to urgent care to try and find out maybe if there's something going on with the heart. They didn't see anything going on with it. They ran some blood work, but that's about all they did. Was hoping to have gotten some results back on Friday, but did not get any. Woke up the next day still showing pretty much the same exact symptoms. And luckily, by that point, was able to get in contact with a doctor who's a friend of my wife's family, who is very much on board with things like the McCullough protocol, the frontline doctors protocol. For those that are following that, they have been basically talking about actual medication and actual treatment of COVID prior to hospitalization. Like, they have been at the forefront of this since 2020. And that's also where both part of me is so incredibly happy and so incredibly thankful and humbled, but at the same time also so incredibly angry because of how vilified many of these people and many of these protocols have been for the past several years. And just to think about how many people's lives probably could have been saved had these protocols been allowed to go into place and been allowed to actually been utilized, and had doctors actually been allowed to treat patients, that of course creates a fire and fury within me. And now, of course, having experienced the things that I've experienced, because essentially as soon as I started taking even just parts of that protocol, things started to already improve. Just with basic aspirin alone, I started to notice some changes. And then, of course, once I started going with vitamin C, vitamin D, of course, this morning got started on ivermectin as well. I've seen tremendous improvements to the point where I feel perfectly fine to do a live stream. Definitely not 100% yet. Though the doctor definitely says that he's like, it'll probably be about 3 days, so probably 2 more days. And then he suspects, because this is his own experience as a doctor working with actual patients, that usually it's within about 3 days that people show no symptoms. And so I'm already showing very, very few symptoms. As I said, I'm not 100%. I know that myself, but I'm definitely about, if I had to put a number onto it, I have to say about 85%. About 85%, where beforehand I was, very, very low. But I just think about that. I think about where I was. I think about what was going on with my heart. I think about what's going on now, where I am now. And I'm just so incredibly thankful that we had extended family who went through this, actually went through long COVID. and was actually able to get connected with this doctor, and basically the same protocol, the same treatment that I'm on right now, got him, my extended family, well within a few days. And sure enough, started doing the same thing that he did, and already day one on like the full treatment, and I'm already at 85% of what of what I was. So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at just, again, how vilified so many of these people and so many of these treatments have been. And it's so, to me, it's just so damning of the, not just the pharmaceutical industry, not just the political elites, but also just the general, even just the general populace as well, buying into the demonization of so many of these things. Obviously we've known about this for a long time. I've covered this for a long time, especially on the OMB Report channel. We talked about this, and I know that it's come up on streams before as well, but having actually gone through it myself, especially with kind of the freakiness of the heart stuff, because that definitely for me was like, okay, this is not good. I was basically bedridden for 2 days. So that was definitely a lot, that was definitely rough. But to have today be, a mostly normal day, to the point where I felt comfortable enough to be walking around without, actually being able to go out and get some medication as well, without having to worry about passing out. It's just, honestly, it's just amazing to me that so many people, and saddening to me that so many people were denied the ability to even be given the chance to have this. And it just makes me wonder, again, I have no proof of it, but it just makes me wonder and ask the question of how many people's lives could have potentially been saved had they been allowed to go through this. Now, I know that we're several strains down the road. This is obviously a strain that is a lot more mild compared to the Alpha or even the Delta. I know Delta had a lot of people up for several days. Even the Omicron, right? Even the current variant that we're seeing right now, for some people, they're having mild, some are having more severe symptoms as well. Because again, just like with any illness, just like with any flu season, for instance, there can be some people that are going to show more severe symptoms versus others. But just the fact that it's taken people so long, the fact that it's taken people and took people, that we are still actually at the point now where many of these medications are still not being allowed, or at the very least are being restricted. And I just mentioned just the fact that this is a medication, one of the medications that I'm on. I mentioned earlier, ivermectin. I don't really mind saying the words out loud because YouTube can flag it for all I want, for all I care, because the fact is that it's the medication I was prescribed, it's the medication that I'm on, and guess what? It's the medication that's working, and that's just from my own personal experience. I'm not a doctor. Talk to your own medical professional. I can just speak from my own experience. But the fact that insurance doesn't cover it for most people, and the fact that the basic coverage for it, or the basic price for it, can range between $100 and $300 just for a 5-day supply. And that essentially that all comes down to the fact that even though it's dirt cheap to manufacture because it's been around for over 40 years, the fact that we're in a position where we are now, where people still can't get access to it either through price or because people won't prescribe it, or pharmacies won't actually fill it, it's just crazy. Honestly, it's just downright insane. But anyway, let me go ahead and dive into the chat. That is just my own spiel. But again, I am doing a lot better. And let's see. Brandon, before things even got started, Braden said YouTube already giving the COVID info warning. I hadn't even said anything yet. When Braden put this comment. This was before I even went live. So that tells you all you need to know as well. That the big tech companies are clearly in bed with certain people, because I'm just a regular person. I am not a doctor, and I'm not given any type of medical advice. But what I am saying is the medical advice that I was given has been effective. Again, 2 days of symptoms, and now I'm back at 85% as soon as I started doing the treatments that I was prescribed. I'm just saying. I'm just speaking from my own experience on this. What would I know? I'm not a doctor, though. Let's see. Chef Nick Nero, thank you for the $20 Super chat saying, thank you for the awesome rosary. Really appreciate it. My wife loved the How to Pray Rosary card with it because she had forgotten since she was a kid the last time she prayed. Shaking my head. I pray nightly. That's why I'm awesome. Hey, well, shout out to you, Chef Nick Nero. Thank you again for that very, very generous donation. And yeah, no problem at all. No problem at all, man. And I'm very glad that she appreciates it. And yeah, one of the things that for people who've been requesting rosaries is that I've been putting like basically little kits together. I mean, just with pieces of paper basically within them. But I think it is nice because some people who are requesting them, they might be Catholic. They might just be asking for an actual rosary. They know what it is, but some people may not know. And so I feel like it's good to have that kind of information in there just in case. And if one doesn't need it because they already have that information, then they can share that with somebody else. Let's see. Gary Banjo Sandwich says, "Coof all over the UK at the moment, but we are heading into a heat wave. Also, record highs in the UK. Shave my head to cool down." Hey, shaving the head's always a good thing to stay cool. So, well, all I could say though is that as far as strains are concerned, this one seems to, based on all available data, seems to be one of the more mild strains. And so, and just again, just someone speaking from the experience of having now had it, 2 days of symptoms. And it was definitely no walk in the park, and not being able to walk around because of, I guess I've heard some people describe it as vertigo. I don't really know exactly how I would describe vertigo, but basically walking around and feeling incredibly lightheaded, feeling like this giant flush, again, having that elevated heart rate, 40 beats above normal for me. That was, again, probably the worst part of it. One of the weirdest was when I was showering on day 2. My heartbeat got up to like 130 beats a second, which is like for showering. That's just, it was definitely not a walk in the park. But to have 2 days of symptoms and then as soon as treatment starts to see basically all those symptoms go away, I have to look at that and say, okay, there must be something to this then. But again, I'm no doctor. Let's see. Master of Gaming tagged and said, "Do I think that Black Adam will be the first film in October to gross 100 million?" I have no idea. You're speaking months in advance, brother. It's a random question to throw out in the beginning of a stream that doesn't have anything to do with Black Adam. Anyway, Mike Jackson, what's going on, good sir? GMuggy76 says, "Praying for a full recovery and safety for your family." Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, that's actually, to be honest, the hardest part of all of this has been distancing from my family because my wife is very cautious, and hey, totally understand. Even if the chances are low, especially for our young one, especially for baby Thor, even if the chance is incredibly low, we obviously don't want to even take the smallest chance of anything, if we can help it to the best of our ability. So that's been the hardest thing, is that I have not been able to hug baby Thor the last 2 days. And it's even been where I've been walking around him at least, but I have not, I've been wanting to avoid any type of, physical touch, just to, again, be on, better to be safe than sorry. And, always, especially when it comes to your kids, when it comes to, everyone's going to make their own decisions, but it's one that I totally respect. And it's one that I think that I can totally support. But it's definitely that's been the hardest part of this, is obviously the 2 days being sick and being laid up in bed were tough. But the hardest was, having to, hear baby Thor say, "Daddy, daddy," and hug, and then me not be able to. So, we were trying to, do as what we can as a, at a distance, and try to make sure that he doesn't feel like he's being, ignored. Right. So trying to keep things positive and everything, but also trying to keep as much distance as can. So, yeah. Anyway, Orange Chat Reviews, hail to you, good sir, saying, "Hello everyone and welcome back to the best Saturday evening stream. Hail to the Healing All Father Odin, and hail to the awesome chat, and to even more awesome Valkyrie." Yeah, thanks to the Valkyrie being here. Tina, thank you for being here. Stephanie B, thank you for being here as well. Yeah, Stephanie B probably has a somewhat of an idea of what I'm going through, because she has some similar experiences on her end. It's been great. And also thank y'all for being in the chat. I know that I did not make it easy, because I did not decide whether to go live or not up until just about maybe an hour ago. But I wanted to check in with the Lady Freya. I wanted to make sure that it was okay with her. Since we've been distancing, obviously she's been taking care of, we have, 2 floors of the house, and so she's been trying to stay more at the downstairs, but she has specific spaces there because she already knows that I was in one of the spaces. So again, better to be safe than sorry. But yeah, the R, what's going on? Thank you very much for being here. Chase Hedges, what's going on, brother? Always glad to see you in the comment section. Gus, hail to you. Stephanie B, what's going on, Stephanie B? Glad to have you here. Appreciate it. Sherry Allen, what's going on, Sherry? Hope you're doing well. Coliseum Builders, hail to you. Yeah, I totally agree, Tina. Yeah, it's ridiculous that just because I have it in the name of the video, because it's a statement of fact. I had COVID, still have it, but I am recovering from it. It's amazing how all of a sudden it's like, misinformation. Ooh, follow the CDC. Okay, well, until the CDC lays out prevention and lays out early treatment that actually includes not brand new pharmaceutical drugs, but actual tested amongst thousands upon thousands of people, ones that have been around for a long time, well tested, maybe up until that point, maybe I won't actually go to them. But again, trust your doctor, and I'm not your doctor. David L. Titus say, you would not have gotten COVID if you had fed a River. Just saying. Oh, yes, blame it all on River. Joey Horn, what's going on? Hail to you. Let's see, Alice McCarthy tagged and said, howdy old, and hope you're feeling better. How's Thor? The wife bought Jurassic World 3, and of course I loved it. Of course you did. Really? How could you love that movie? It's garbage. Brother, come on, man. You enjoyed the villain being a knockoff Tim Cook of Apple? Don't tell me that that's not like Tim Cook of Apple as the bad guy. Seriously? Not to mention, you like having giant locusts, essentially? Giant locusts that have been that have been developed using dinosaur DNA to destroy the crops and create famine? Alex, you're better than that. You are better than that. Let's see. Orange Hat says, you got the coup. Did you rise from the basement like the second coming, like a certain CNN fool? Let's see. Judakan, what's going on, Judakan? JKD Buck, hail to you, good sir. Yeah, again, as I mentioned, I had 2 days where I was not doing well at all. So again, thank you all very much for your very kind words and your prayers. It really did help a lot. Definitely helped a lot too. But as I said, today I'm at 85% today. So to have 2 days of symptoms and 1 day of mostly nothing. Again, still definitely not nothing. It's still definitely recovering. But if this is the trajectory after 1 day and it continues in the trajectory after 2 and 3, then it's looking like probably by Monday I should be, back at full force, which is good because I really need to mow the lawn. And Monday might be the best day before the rain comes for me to be able to do so. Anyway, Charles Ogawaga, what's going on, Charles? Says, hail, get better soon. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Rob D, hail to you. Say, hello, Odin. Do you think the MCU stands will be mass downvoting your Thor Love and Thunder videos like they did with Shang-Chi? Probably. The only difference I would say is that Shang-Chi actually had much better word of mouth than Thor Love and Thunder. I will at least say that much. Because domestically, Shang-Chi actually did pretty well. Whereas Thor Love and Thunder is having really bad word of mouth. And even Deadline, even the shows over at Deadline are having to admit that. Though it's hilarious because Anthony DeSandro, who does the box office coverage over there, who I always call out as being a shill, he's funny. He's so funny because he notes that there's bad word of mouth, but he can't quite understand why. He's like, there's clearly bad word of mouth, but we don't really know why. It's like, bro, you're choosing to be ignorant at this point. Let's see, Cacao Cookies Minion. Good to hear you're feeling better. Had the coof back in January. Strangest and longest flu-like sickness, 2 weeks. Never felt a flu or cold, so it was different. Yeah, again, for me, it was just 2 days of symptoms. And again, it was weird too. It was something I'd never experienced before with 40 beats per minute elevated heart rate, resting heart rate. Again, normally I'm at 60. The symptoms I had, the two main symptoms I had were 100 beats per minute resting heart rate, which is very abnormal for me. Feeling lightheaded and dizzy whenever I would be standing up, walking around. And then I had a headache for the first 2 days as well. It wasn't like a sharp headache necessarily, but it was like a mild, persistent, never went away headache. And that was also something that was tough. The first night also, I I ended up having sweats, like night sweats and stuff. So that first night, I think, was definitely the worst. Second one, I definitely saw a bit of an improvement. And then, as I said, just I think introducing, having started introducing the aspirin. And because I was talking with the doctor, and he said that the aspirin's good because it actually does something with, I forget exactly what it does, but it does something with your veins. So I think it did something where it basically probably helped with my blood flow, if I had to guess. I don't know exactly what it was, but that was the way that it was described. Leslie Dorkin, what's going on? Thank you again for saying, hope you feel better. Glad you're feeling better. I appreciate it. Jason Ebenstein, I know it's been so long. It's been so long. I'm so glad to be back. Stephanie B says, just wait. It'll hit hard in a minute. Just you wait. It'll hit hard in a minute. I promise you. Oh, man. I know. I wish I could get rid of it, too. Unfortunately, it's YouTube who's bowing to all of the whims of Big Pharma. And giant government. Drunk 3PO, thank you for the $10 super chat. Thank you, brother. Saying, feel better, bro. Much love. Much love to you, Drunk. Thank you, man, for being in the chat. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you for all the love. Drunk 3PO, one of the nicest persons ever. He's one of my favorite persons to talk to in real life as well. You know what I'm talking about, Drunk. But seriously, I love our conversations, man. And thank you so much for stopping by and for the good intentions, for the good vibes. Let's see, Lance Mulder. Happy Saturday, kind sir. Happy to you. Low Watermark, thank you for the $25 donation via Streamlabs. He says, I'm glad you are on the mend. Hope you reach 100% soon. Again, if things keep going in the trajectory that they are, it looks like it'll be either sometime tomorrow or Monday. My doctor said, again, my doctor, you can talk to your own doctor. My doctor said 3 days, symptoms will be gone. And again, one day after being on stuff, I can say 85%. So I'll take you take that for what it's worth. JK by 76 Odin. So I took something that rhymes with fiverpectin. Oh man. Yeah, I'll just go out and say it again. It's a medication that's been around for over 40 years. Now, whether your doctor prescribes it or not is up to your doctor, and you have to talk to your doctor about it. But yeah, ivermectin as an antiviral, this being a virus, to me it makes sense, but I'm also not a doctor. Greta Zenner, what's going on? Greta, hail to you. Thank you for stopping by in the chat. Alice McCarthy said, I worked out when I had the coof because still was doing PT in the hospital room. I ended up getting stronger, though zero energy. Yeah, well, that's the thing, too. I was talking to a family member who had it, and this is how we got the doctor connection. And one of the things that they mentioned was, like, one of the things he told me was, you don't necessarily want to lie down. You want to stay active. The difference, though, is that we had different symptoms. So the symptoms that he had were different than the ones that I had at different times. Like, he had the symptoms I had at a different point, but the ones that he had the second time around, he needs to really walk around because basically, for him, if he had stayed still, if he had been laying down the whole time, if he had been bedridden like I was, because of where he was in his symptoms, it would have been easier for basically some of the lung issues to get really ramped up. But for me, walking around, working out, that was not a possibility because of my heart rate. There's just no way I could have justified doing that. It would probably have been very dangerous for me to do that. I would have passed out pretty easily. I mean, I was, again, almost passing out just by walking around. But again, luckily, early treatment seemed to got those nipped in the bud. And again, I think that probably by Monday, I'd feel comfortable enough going out to mow the lawn. And again, hopefully it continues to work in that way. Let's see. Joshua Stranger says, good to see you on the mend. Finally got it myself 4 weeks ago. We missed you on FNT. Hey, I missed being on FNT. That was again, a tough decision to make because I was still really not feeling well. I was feeling, again, last night I started to feel a little bit better because that's when I had just started taking aspirin. And I think that helped out a lot with my heart rate. So by about afternoon or so right around the time FNT was starting was when I was starting to feel a little bit better with the heart rate. And then I also was taking the vitamin C, vitamin D, and I was just getting information from the doctor. I didn't get like the full information, the full breakdown from my doctor until like late last night. So I had just started some of the just the general vitamins, which are just generally good things. I don't think that YouTube should have a problem with me talking about how vitamin D is incredibly important. Vitamin C also incredibly important as well. Of course, the vitamin, not the band. Vitamin C is important at graduation, the band that is. But I'm sure vitamin C is also important other times of the year. But sorry, silly dad joke there. Had to get it out. But yeah, so I'm just so incredibly thankful to be on the mend. But yeah, it was very sad to miss Friday Night Tights last night. But I was looking, I couldn't listen to the show because I was really not in a good position to listen to stuff. But I can say that just being able to see that there was 14,000 at one point watching. Shout out to the FNT crew for having a rockin' show. See, Orange Hat says, the variants are dropping in lethality, but increasing infection rate, standard for mutative strains. Again, viruses in general, that is standard for all viruses. Viruses want to infect as many people as possible. So if a virus is going to kill a lot of people, then that means it's not going to be able to infect a lot of people. And so therefore, by their very nature, they will mutate, and therefore they will mutate to become more easily spread, but less deadly, because they want you spread to as much. Again, that's the very nature of what a virus is. I'm not a doctor, by the way, but you can go ahead and do your own research on this. By the way, the chat is insane tonight. We got 140 people watching. This is insane. Thank y'all so very much for being here. Smash the like button. But if I don't get to a comment, I apologize, because yeah, it's because of the crazy comments. Let's see. Actual Rising 78 says, finally able to make a stream. Tea time with the Templar. Yes. I always love that mention. Tea time. Orange Reviews, you got flagged the second you put COVID in your title. That's how it is. Yeah, it is how it is. And yet, at the end of the day, all I can say is, YouTube, you suck. And you're not helping anybody. You really aren't helping anybody. Neither is big government, neither is big pharma. Turo, Odin talking about prices because the numbers matter, Gary. They do matter, Turo. They do. Dang it, Gary, the numbers matter. Stephanie B. Yep, I did. I put the no word in there. JKD says, I do the Zelenko protocol for prevention, but I don't have fibropectin, so I use Nigelia Sadovia. Yeah, I've been told about that one. Yeah, he mentioned the Zelenko protocol as well. But that's what's so amazing too, is that even amongst the doctors that are all about early treatment, even all of them have their own different ways, and they all are doing the same thing, right? They all have their own preferred ones that handle specific parts of it. And I think that is the reason why I look to it. And it just, again, every single thing they lay out makes complete sense. Because a big part of the treatment also is zinc. The only issue is that zinc, which is really good at being able to stop viral replication, it needs a way of being carried over, right? It needs a way of being carried over into the cells. And so a couple of the things that are really good at that are another no-name drug that you can't say, hydroxychloroquine. Again, I'll say it because screw YouTube. And I'm not a doctor. I just want to reiterate that once again, that I am not a doctor. But then there's another one where it's quercetin, I think is what it's called. Quercetin. It's one that I just found out about. It's not as effective as that one, but it's over the counter. It's easy to get. And basically what that does is it carries the zinc to be able to, it's because of like certain ions. Again, I'm not a doctor. I am really honestly not a doctor, but it does something to where it helps carry the zinc to the actual virus to be able to stop its replication. It's like this is amazing stuff. Anyway, Bruce says here, yes, thank you very much for the rosary. No problem at all, Bruce. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Leslie Thorkin says, watch the Star Wars parody and the musical was really funny. Yeah, again, it's not going to be for everybody because not everyone likes musicals. But since you've seen it, one of my favorite parts is when a drunk Obi-Wan Kenobi comes in and explains the entire Clone Wars. It's some of the funniest stuff I've ever heard, and it's stuff that I mostly agree with. Orange Star Review says, baptized Catholic, not much practicing, but a homemade rosary from a friend. That would be cool. I also have a fetish for crosses, have a bunch. I wouldn't necessarily say fetish. I think that's the wrong word. I think that might be the wrong word, Orange Hat. But yeah, man, just send me a message. I'm sending them out when I can. JKD Buck says, tachycardia from dehydration. I don't know much about that. Because, yeah, I heard a lot about, obviously, keep the fluids up. Obviously, I've got my water bottle. I've been doing that a lot. But, yeah, I wasn't experiencing much dehydration, to be honest, because I was keeping my fluids up. Let's see. Asajj, what's going on? Hail to you. Physics Channel Kenny Lee says, hello, Odin. How have you been? I've been doing okay, man. Just recovering from the cove. Let's see. Master Gaming. More people are waking up to the fact that MCU is a massive decline except for No Way Home, mainstream media, and some YouTubers. We'll keep this in mind as well. No Way Home is Sony/MCU for one. Two, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is still a massive box office hit. Again, it didn't reach $1 billion, but it still made a massive amount of profit, though it had massive drop-off because of bad word of mouth. And three, as I mentioned, I still do think there's a good chance at this point, based on the numbers that it's made, we'll see tomorrow when I do the full box office breakdown, there is a good chance still that Thor 4, Love and Thunder, makes its money back. However, the profit margin on it is going to be very, very small. It definitely is showing a downward trajectory. So I think that's definitely in the cards for this. Mike G, what's going on? Khalid, what's going on, Khalid? Welcome here. Let us see. Cacao and Cookies Minion saying not having streaming issues. Glad to hear it. If you are having it, I am sorry. But just keep in mind, I am live on YouTube. I'm on DLive. I'm on Odyssey. I'm on Twitter. So for any reason YouTube decides that me constantly saying, I'm not a doctor, talk to your doctor, isn't good enough for them, just know I'm still going to be live on a myriad of other platforms. You can't stop the signal. Sherry Allen tagged and said, that's vertigo. It's one of the main symptoms of chemotherapy treatment. I'm glad that you are feeling better. I understand how hard it is being separated from family. Yeah, Sherry Allen, I've been praying for you. Also, just so you know, your rosary should be on the way to you as well. So hopefully I got all of the information on the address correct, but that should be on the way to you. And so keep on fighting. Been praying for you, Sherry. You got this. All right. Keep on fighting. Gamers, what's going on? Kathleen Kennedy's 50-year-old fanboy, what's going on? Welcome back to the chat. Chef De Niro, there he is. Again, if you have a comment or question, please put at Odin in the very beginning of your comment. At Odin lets me know you're trying to get my attention, especially when you have a crazy chat like this. Unless you're a member or you put at Odin at the beginning, it's going to be hard for me to keep up with everyone else. So please, if you could follow that, I appreciate it. Thank you. Clown World Review, who's a member, hail to you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Let's see. K-Man says, howdy all. Hope all is well. Hope you're doing better. Well, thank you very much, K-Man. I am doing a lot better. Holy crap. Low Watermark just gifted 20 memberships. Oh my goodness. Low Watermark, you never make my job any easier when you do this, man, because now I got to keep up with 20 more people. So I will have to say tonight, I cannot promise that I will keep up with every member's comments, because now there are a bunch of new members who I have to be able to try and figure out who is who. I do appreciate it, though. Low Watermark, you legend. You cheeky legend, you. So if you could still put at Odin at the beginning of your comments still, I would really appreciate it. I really would. Especially with people like Low Watermark. But seriously, man, you are a legend, good sir. All right, let's see. Coliseum Builder says, trust CDC. They paid to create the Whoa, okay. Coliseum Builders, I'm bold. I'm not necessarily that bold, sir. The worst part of the coup for me was I couldn't smell my bacon for a week. Yeah, I haven't had that issue. I can still smell all the things. But that's what's interesting, is that there are so many different symptoms. And that's why it's so difficult, because it's gonna manifest differently for different people. But that's the reason why I think that this type of treatment and having the availability of this kind of treatment is so incredibly important. It really honestly is. Let's see. Laura, the Modern Major General, who is who is the Modern Major General of the channel, one of my mods, says, testing COVID. I see what you did there. You crazy. Nearside Cyclops says, I had Winnie the Pooh flu right at the start. My dad was in this last month, so I was in and out of hospitals. Got sick as heck for 10 days. Yeah. And again, I think that we especially can see this earlier on where you had, alpha and delta were the two real primary ones that a lot of people got impacted by and were very serious. But that's, again, I go back to what I said at the beginning. It's why I'm so frustrated with the fact that so many of the treatments that were offered as early as 2020 were vilified, demonized, ignored, and in some cases even banned. The fact that you're still even getting these notifications and these warnings of misinformation, etc., for stuff that at this point has been proven to be effective in a wide variety of ways. Again, talk to your doctors about it and get your medical advice from your own doctor. But it is something that it's just so infuriating, because all I can think about is how many people's lives could have been impacted in a positive way, right? Whose lives were not impacted because they didn't have the capability. They didn't have the access. General Wingster, you didn't need to get sick on my birthday. A card would have been sufficient. Well, happy birthday, General Wingster. Let's see. Christopher, what's going on? Said, I had the goof last month, had mild cold symptoms for 2 days, and then I was fine. God bless you and your family. Hope you were a better student. Thank you very much, Christopher. Yeah, again, maybe not, I wouldn't call them cold flu symptoms because I've never really had symptoms like that before. And that's how my wife kind of knew that something was up right away, because she knows I don't really get sick. Like, my immune system is usually pretty good. I very rarely get sick. And so the fact that I was sick at all, and then also I was showing very weird symptoms, she was like, I think we should probably get one of the at-home tests. And so we both took it and turned positive, and again, started medication, feeling a lot better. Let's see. Laura says, sorry you're on 100%, but glad you're streaming. Yeah, again, the fact that I'm well enough to stream should say and speak volumes, I think. Physics channel with Kenny Lee. Again, this guy knows physics. I'm not a doctor, but this guy knows physics. So aspirin thins the blood and can make it flow easier. Yeah. I think that probably is the reason why I was starting to see those effects take pretty quick action when I first started taking, because the original aspirin, the only reason why I started taking aspirin originally even was because of pain. And I forgot exactly why we landed on that, because I don't think we had gone through the protocols yet. But I'm glad that we went with that one, because I'm pretty sure that is what helped with the heart rate situation that I was going through. Or at least I wouldn't be surprised if that was the situation. Again, I'm not a doctor, so I can't say for sure, but I can make an educated guess. Let's see, Alice McCarthy. By the way, again, low watermark. You are such a mad lad. Such a mad lad. Alice McCarthy says, so that's probably why I didn't feel bad except for a day. I had blood thinner shots every day while in the hospital anyway to prevent the blood clots. There you go. Again, I think that probably is a big reason. Yeah, that was one of the concerns that I had, was because I knew my blood was being impacted. But luckily we are where we are. Crisco, time to say Thor was probably the last real tentpole film of the summer. Of the remaining summer films, which ones do you think will be the most successful? Even though for me, it doesn't count as a summer film, because once I get into August, to me, like, my school, we start like first week of August, we're back at meetings. First Friday of August, we have our first day of school. Like, we get started right off the bat. So summer is over for me once August hits. So the fact that many people do still count it, because a lot of colleges are off and a lot of high schools start a little later than mine does. Mine's definitely on the earlier end. They still count August as like a summer month. So really the last summer movie that I can think of is Bullet Train. As far as ones, that one I think is going to be more of a sleeper, because the trailer is actually really well done. I don't know if the film's going to be good, but if the film is as good as the trailer is, it could be good. Midwest Sports Net, what's going on? Hail to you, Mr. Roy. Hail to you, good sir. Jeff, my name's Jeff. Rob D said, Odin, did you see the Lightyear just accomplished making back its production budget? So any money it makes from here is profit, right? Just kidding. Okay, thank you for saying that. I appreciate. I'm glad that you've been paying attention to my box office videos enough to know that that is not how you make the money back. But yeah, it's amazing. Oh man, it's reached its budget. Now it's got to make up its marketing costs. Oh, and also, wait a minute, it doesn't get 100% of those receipts anyway, so it actually hasn't made back its production budget. Ooh. Yeah, that movie. Ooh. Again, I think 150 million plus loss by the end. Victor Fontaine had to say, I had long COVID for 7 weeks, went from Thanksgiving to January 15th. Luckily, it never went into my lungs. My resting heart rate hit 134. I should have gotten, oh my goodness gracious, man. And I'm going to say no. I don't think you should have, man. Again, that's just my own personal opinion. Talk to your own doctor about it. But I do think that what this has shown me more so is that I think a lot of people probably should look into some of these protocols. Again, one, the McCullough protocol, another, frontline doctors, because they have not only early treatment, not only do they have like secondary treatment if the primary treatment isn't effective, or if it's like if you're too late, like if you think that you're getting it early but you're actually a little further along than you would have thought. They have like all the stages, including prevention. So for anyone that maybe hasn't gotten it ever, I would say look into it, because it just has practical stuff too. Like, everyone should be taking vitamin D. Again, this is something that I should have known. And it was funny because my doctor berated me for it, saying, "Why are you not taking this already?" And I'm like, I'm a minimalist. And he's like, "This is not something to be minimalist about." And I'm like, okay. But like simple stuff like that, like things that just make complete sense. So I would say, yeah, look into that, because I think that, especially if anyone out there is honestly is concerned about getting it, because as I said, for me, it was 2 days of symptoms and it was not fun at all. Again, at times, especially in those first couple of days, it was a little nerve wracking, because as I said, once it's something like your heart, like that's something it's like you don't play around with, but at the end of the day, that was my own personal experience with it. But I can say, if anyone does have those kinds of concerns, there are things you can take to be able to build up your immune system, so that either one, if you do get it, your system is built to be able to fight it more efficiently, and two, you can actually have it to where it's a lot less likely for you to get not just to get one thing, but to get really any of the other viral strains that exist for any myriad of things out there. So I would say just look into it. Again, talk to your doctor, consult your doctor, of course, for I am not one. Or consult doctors in general. Good doctors, of course. Can Only Sasquatch says, "I'm glad you're improving. Entire family got the Delta variant a while back, and it put us all in one down for 5 to 7 days. Just pumped down lots of vitamin C and D and zinc, and better by day 3. Yeah, again, that's a big part of it, man. Absolutely. But yeah, the quercetin, I think that's what it is. Quercetin. Quercetin with the zinc is actually a really good combination, because it's the quercetin actually helps carry the zinc to help stop that replication. So the zinc is what stops the actual replication. It's what blocks those. I forget exactly what it does, but it blocks certain aspects of the virus from replicating. But it's the quercetin that actually carries it. So it's similar to what a hydroxychloroquine would do, but quercetin is easily over the counter, not as effective. And again, I'm not a doctor, so consult your own doctor. Say to your doctor, "Hey, I've heard that quercetin and zinc is a good combination for just fighting general infections. Is that correct?" And your doctor might say yes, or they might say maybe not for you. Consult them. G-Man. G-Man says, yeah, tonight's a terrible night to have a drinking game established based off of how many times Odin says, "Talk to your doctor." Because let's just say you're not going to win that one. No one's going to win that game. G-Man says, "You don't need to be dealing with the FNT crew when your heart rate is already elevated." This is a fact. This is very, very true. That is absolutely true. Chicago Box, what's going on? Let's see. Jaggedy Buck, who's a member, says, "Also have an oximeter at the home. Put you on your finger to check O2 saturation, especially if you have." Yeah. I heard about that one. That one was one that was talked about a lot. But as I mentioned, again, luckily with where I am, I won't need to necessarily do that. That was one of the things that I did see happen a lot. But again, I consulted my own doctor. You consult your own doctor. That was not one thing that was mentioned, based on, again, because it's based off of where I am, what symptoms I had, etc. And that's the reason why when I do say that, it is slightly joking, right? Talk to your own doctor, because YouTube's like, if you don't say that, then blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, it is actually a good thing, because if your symptoms are different, or if your medical history is different, or anything, again, myriad of other factors could impact what kinds of things they recommend. Most of the things are going to be similar, as I mentioned, like things like zinc. But again, zinc has always been known to help with the immune system. Vitamin D as well, vitamin C. But again, I think that those are all things that now I think we're becoming a lot more aware of, because a lot of the stuff that I've learned and that I did learn from having this conversation with my doctor is like stuff, okay, well then I'm just going to keep on taking the vitamin D long after. I'm going to keep taking the the vitamin C. I'm going to keep on taking, even the zinc as well. I just won't have to take it nearly as often once I'm, fully through this. Let's see. Bongo Tez, what's going on? Bongo says, how you like Ripa passing $2 million, dude? Shout out to young Ripa. Shout out to the Ripaverse. That is amazing. Making $2 million. Like, that's just amazing. And someone corrected me in my one of my Instagram posts because, I'm someone that's so used to people doing the crowdfunding. And so I assumed that it was something similar to that, not knowing that no, everything's already been created, and that's why things are going out like in August and going out really early because all the stuff was already in the pipe. So the fact that he has made $2 million already is just incredible. It's just so incredible. So shout out to young Ripa, shout out to the Ripaverse, so amazing. Here in the Steadfast, what's going on, brother? Yeah, JKD Buck, when I was doing research on that one, I found out. I had not realized that Dr. Zelenko had passed away. But yeah, his protocol still obviously is up. And then I know that there is there's a combo that he has where it's an all-in-one. It has all of the necessary nutrients that fits some of his preventative stuff. Let's see, 70B, were you able to take the monoclonal antibody treatment? I did, and I swear my hair has grown. I have not. I did not. Again, that was not something that came up with my doctor based off of the symptoms that I had. So, nope. As I mentioned, the ones that I mentioned the ones that I mentioned the ones that I was specifically recommended earlier in the stream. But yeah, everyone's going to be a little bit different. Let's see. Aspacardi says, hospital protocol was 10 days in isolation, but luckily for me, I wasn't tested till the 5th day, so I had to stay in my room for 5 days, though I was fine by then. Yeah, and that's what's, again, it's so frustrating that so much more time is spent by the CDC and these bureaucratic bodies, because let's be honest, it's the bureaucratic bodies that are determining these various policies of how long X or how long Y, when instead that time should have been focused more on, okay, but how do we get X to more people, or how do we get Y to more people, because especially if someone honestly is no longer showing symptoms, by proxy, that means that there's less chance of them, because let's say you're coughing. Okay, that cough means you're more likely going to be able to get that out. Whereas if you're no longer coughing, it means your chance of getting anything out is a lot less likely. That's just more common sense. I'm not a doctor, but JKD Buck says quercetin also is an ionosphere. Yeah, exactly. Ionosphere. That was what I was trying to say. So that's the reason why with the zinc is what makes it most effective. Anyway, Buffalo Alice, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. I don't know if I've seen your name in the chat before. Damien says, well, when is the Thor discussion starting? Brother, I got 180 people in the chat. A lot of them are trying to check up and see if I'm okay. So hold your horses and chillax, brother. Chillax, brother. It's okay. No one's hurting you. It's okay. It's going to take a little while. It's going to take a little while, because I want to try and make sure I get to all the lovely people who are in the comment section. That's what I do here. I stay focused on the people. Clown War Review says, I stopped watching MCU or any Disney. It's the only solution to the madness. We have to break the cycle. Yeah, totally understand it. Let's see. David L says, Thor's toast 8% drop Friday to Friday is abysmal. Gru is beating it day to day. So yeah, here's the problem though, David, and this is something that I know people have mentioned previously before. I saw a couple of comments about this. The Friday to Friday drop really isn't that much of an indicator. Which is again, the bigger indicator is the weekend drop domestically and the weekend drop internationally, because you can have an 80% drop Friday, but you can make that up Saturday and Sunday. So 80%, some people are like, 80% drop is the biggest drop ever. It's like, okay, but here's the problem. Again, so, the person before mentioned, like, when are you going to start talking about Thor's box office? When are you going to start talking about it? Me. Sorry if I'm making fun of you, but that's what you sound like to me. Anyway, so as you can see, 80% Friday, but 68% for Thor Love and Thunder weekend to weekend. All right. And as far as where this stands with other MCU titles, 67% was Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. 68% was Black Widow. Spider-Man No Way Home also had 68%, though it does at least give a proper excuse, saying that it's an outlier because, yeah, Christmas. Yeah, that's definitely a very good reason for that to be the case. But yeah, it's definitely not in a good place, all right? But that 80% number, we don't need to talk about that one as much because the better number or the bigger number to talk about is that 68% weekend drop-off projected. Again, this is domestically. We'll have to wait and see what the international drop-off is because that's the other factor that a lot of people do not always take into account because that international number can make up for a lack in domestic numbers. That's not always the case, but it could happen. What I love, though, for this is that they try to make excuses, as it says right here. Anecdotally, Thor 4 is quite a fun ride. And if you see it in Screen X, it's mind-blowing. It says, it's a clip fast at 1 hour and 58 minutes, but not as Byzantine as Doctor Strange 2 and Eternals. But clearly something isn't resonating with fans. Look at that. Clearly something isn't resonating with fans. I've been told by sources that they and critics obviously don't think it's as good as Ragnarok. That pick, despite having a lower opening than Thor 4 at $122.7 million, possessed a higher grossing second weekend with $57 million. And that was during November, not summer. So this just shows you how out of touch they are. How out of touch this dude right here from Deadline, we talked about him before, Anthony DeSandro, is that he can't understand what is. He's like, it's a great movie, it's a lot of fun, but something's not resonating. I don't know what it is. Oh, you don't, eh? Maybe you should open your eyes. Maybe you should open your eyes. Anyway, there we go. I talked about Thor. You're welcome. Back into the chat now because I'm hanging out with my peeps. Ambrose, what's going on, brother? Thank you very much for being here. Michael L. Jenks, what's going on? Hail to you. Just another red shirt in the chat. What's going on? Sorry, some comments were skipped. Hamlet Burger, we missed you on FNT. Were you still able to eat pizza? I was actually. I was well enough to eat pizza. Your boy Mirage, what's going on? Welcome. Nathan Slay tagged in the voice of Alfred Hitchcock. Good evening. Let's see. Michael Jenks tagged and said, prayers from a Baptist brother in Christ, so far uninfected, unjabbed. Hey, kudos to you, good sir. Tina Bojan, hail to you. Thanks for being in the chat. Chat, you are mad tonight. I love y'all. I love you, love you, love you, love you. All righty, let's see. Sherry Allen says, thank you so much. It means so much. Look forward to receiving it. We'll keep up the good fight with leukemia. Again, thank you, Odin, and your Valks. Hey, Sherry, again, keep on fighting. You got this, all right? Keep on fighting. Never give up, never surrender. Let's see. Victor Fontaine says, the COVID went through all of my systems, heart, lymph nodes, digestive, had the racing heart at rest for a month. I will say, Victor, though, at any point did your doctor ever prescribe you any treatments? Because again, that's what I go back to is how many doctors have even talked about the treatments that I've mentioned. Again, talk to your own doctor about this stuff, but I think that is something that's important to bring up. And it's like, should Al Hitchcock's Psycho be renamed as the Norman? No. I see what you did there, but no, man. Curzilla, what's going on? Hail to you. See, Giant Rat, thanks for tagging, saying, missed you on FNT, glad you're doing well. Thank you so much, man. Again, so glad to be feeling a lot better today. Let's see right here. JK76 says, so how does Disney survive? Is it the theme parks that allow them to survive? Actually, at this point, it has probably more so to do with Disney Plus. Because even though we look at Disney Plus as a failure, you have to look at the number of subscribers they have, how much they're paying per month. They're getting close to $1 billion a month just from subscribers there. So that's how they're able to make up for a lot of it. And I recommend highly checking out the channel Park Hoppin', which is one of the Geeks and Gamers channels. Park Hoppin'. Jay does a great job with it, but there's a lot of other awesome people on that channel, especially Tugs. Tugs just did a recent video. I was able to watch it while I was sick. And she did a video about how another boat in the Splash Mountain ride sank with people on it. So people had to get off the ride. And basically how for her, she looks at this, and she's not the only one who looks at this and says, the ride's existed for 30 years. Over the past 2 years, there's been about 3 boats that have done this. And so the immediate thought is, okay, well, clearly they must not be spending as much money on upkeep of the ride or something like that. And so it sounds like they're skimping on some money, because there's also been some reports that it's not as clean as it normally is. So it sounds like they're skimping on money at the parks, probably saving money there. And then also you look to how much money they're making from Disney Plus, despite not really earning it. And that's how I think they're able to stay solvent. Jonathan the Red Shirt says, have you seen Hidden Figures? I'm watching it now. Terrific film so far. I actually liked it a lot, yeah. I don't really like a lot of the people in the film. However, it is a well-done film. Lil Chad, looking like an old Bruce Lee movie with the audio versus the video. Okay, is anyone else having an audio and video issue? Because you're the first that I've heard about it. Dean Heiss says that it's not matched up. Okay, that's weird. David L., if you take vitamin D, don't take K2 in conjunction. You're just flushing the D. Well, that's K's never been recommended at any point, so I don't have to worry about that. At least again, not with what I've been using. Again, everything that I'm on right now is doing its job, so I'm just going to stick with it. So some people are having issues with it. Sherry says no problems on her end. Abomination says audio seems to be behind the video about a quarter of a second. So very minor. Y'all can deal with it. Christopher says, I'm a doctor and everyone should be taking vitamin D3, vitamin C, and zinc. All are important for building up strength of the cell walls. There you go. He claims he is a doctor. Talk to your own, though, of course. But again, why YouTube would hate talking about basic medicines, or rather basic vitamins that have always been in use. Who knows? General Waster, thank you for the $10. But chat saying, get well soon, brother. And if you tell anyone I sent this, I will look for you. I will find you, and I will stare angrily at you. Well, oops. Oopsie. Miss Martin Muses, hail to you. Thank you for being here. Victor Fontaine, tag to say, I've taken vitamins D and C for years. My doctor said I have the best blood work he has seen for some ages. Still got it. But again, I wonder about some of the other stuff that I mentioned. Let's see. Nathan Slay. I'm disappointed that The Northman wasn't a box office hit, but at the same time, because of the weird and bizarre nature of the film, it wasn't going to recoup a $90 million budget. Yeah, really the biggest problem with the film was how much money they spent on it. That was the biggest problem. And by the way, Victor, I'm not trying to downplay at all what you went through. I'm just trying to again break out, like, were there other things that you could have taken, such as potentially combinations of quercetin and zinc, or ivermectin, or other things like that. Again, consult with your own doctor, but that's something that I think is something we should ask. Or if it was even ever brought up. Orange Hour Reviews, lots of cookies in that. Man, that's a lot of cookies. Curzilla, absolutely agree. Ripa is indeed killing it. No doubt about it. Clifton 3D, what's going on, good sir? 1:46 a.m. Now I need to stay up. Hey, man, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going to go for another half hour is the plan. Let's see. Geek and I had it way back in the beginning. Spent 3 days in and out of chiropractor's sauna. Cleared by day 4. Again, yeah, I think that there's different treatments for every person, but also everyone's immune system is different too. So some people's immune systems can better fight it. Others can't. You know? Everyone's a little bit different. Let's see. Mark Lazeth, does anyone else have COVID alert from the CDC? Yep, every single person does, or at least every person should, because that's just the way YouTube works. Mr. Buttcrack Media, hail to you. Thank you very much for being here. JKD Buck says, what Ripa and the fans have done is quite a feat. It is. It is quite amazing. Quite amazing. Let's see. Geek and I says, saw crowd ads today. Very good. Okay, good to hear that. It was one that I was thinking about going to see. But then I got the coof. But then I got the coof. Doesn't really work. Doesn't really come off the tongue as much. Yes. By the way, Odyssey fam, Abomination over on Odyssey wants to remind everybody that there's no alert over on Odyssey because Odyssey don't play that game. So if you're triggered or don't like the fact that that's there, the stream is right now up over on Odyssey. So if you have an Odyssey account, you can go watch it over there. There's a chat over there. I got the chat box up, and all that I ask is you put @Odin at the very beginning of your comment, and I'll read it just like I would on YouTube. Not as many people over there, I grant you, but... Let's see, Bamarad, what's going on? Welcome. Do. Let's see, Nathan Slay. Tad said, I'm Thor. That's right, I'm Thor, because I fell down and I and I scratched my fingernail. Were you trying to say I scratched my fingernail? Or you scratched your finger? Yeah, the whole logic behind it is so ridiculous. That's why if you have not seen the recent pitch meeting for Thor Love and Thunder, if you have either seen Thor Love and Thunder or have not seen it and have no interest in seeing it, watch the pitch meeting for Thor Love and Thunder. It is beautiful. It is perfection. And it does such a great job of just poking all of the holes in the plot. And, oh, man. And of just completely calling it out for really outdated and stupid humor. Like, they make a great comment about the goats in the film, saying, oh, yeah, you remember how goats were really funny about 10 years ago? Well, yeah, I guess you could put that in. Oh, man. Oh, Tina, I'm so sorry to hear that. What's going on with the Chromebook? I don't understand. Let us see. Oh, man, I saw this comment right here. Let's see. Huzzy says, watching you in bed, sick with COVID, recovering, but it seems to hang around. Hey, dude, again, talk to your own doctor, of course, but ask about, obviously, combinations of vitamins is one of the best principles. So vitamin D3, vitamin C, zinc with quercetin, and then also possibly ask about ivermectin as well. But again, consult your own doctor on it. But that seemed to do the trick for me. And also, I forgot to mention another key part of it is aspirin. Full aspirin, 325 milligrams. Again, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not prescribing it. I'm just talking about what I took and what's worked for me, but you need to talk to your own doctor about it. Diane Moore says The Gray Man. Well, again, by big box office movies, The Gray Man not really counting as that because it's on Netflix, and so not a box office movie. So it is a movie that I think a lot of people are looking forward to. I think it's going to be interesting. I can't say I'm looking forward to it. Cast looks interesting. It is the first Russo brothers film outside the MCU, but their last film was not good, so we'll wait and see. Lil Chad said, average intake per subscriber on Disney Plus is only about $5. Many millions of their subscribers are in India, where the monthly sub is only a couple of bucks. But again, just remember that a lot of times they are subsidizing or they get their subscriptions subsidized, and so therefore we have to take that their average, again, if we take the average of all of their subscribers, $5 is probably about that much for everybody. So we're still talking about $1 billion. You're still talking about let's be fair. Let's say $750 million to $1 billion a month. Is that fair? That's still, again, $750 to $1 billion a month. So if we talk about Lightyear losing $150 million, they've made that up in a month. So yeah, it would still, even if the final number is not the exact number, it still is more than enough to make up for the losses that they're seeing at the box office and the amount of money they're paying on a lot of stuff. So now that people are talking about the audio having been out of sync, is that something where it just randomly happened? Did it just start being out of sync, or has it been out of sync the whole time? Because I don't know what would have changed that would have caused that. I don't quite understand it. Let's see. Orange Chat says, out of sync, but not a problem for me. Reminds me of the old Japanese movies. Well, hopefully it's not that bad. Oh, man. I don't know if this had been live yet on Daily Wire Plus. I just got a notification saying Fauci unmasked. Well, I definitely want to watch that. It's very timely for me. Very timely for me. Let's see. Sherry Allen says no problems on her end. Let's see. Nathan Slay said, after watching The Black Phone in theaters and loving it, I want to get a pet hawk just so that I can name it Ethan Hawke. Oh, man. Physics Channel, I know that this was in response to the audio and video, but I can't help but think that there was a double entendre here or something. What do you mean I'm a little off? What are you trying to say, huh? How dare you? How dare you? Coliseum. Odin looks like he is lip-syncing a Jackie Chan movie right now. Well, that's not good. Super, says here. Hey, what's up, my dude? Glad I caught live for a bit. Feels like it's been a while. It has been a while. Especially for me. Just glad to be in a state of recovery right now. Let's see. Nathan Slay. Get well soon, you know the thing. Well, yeah, as I mentioned, I'm actually doing pretty well. Yeah, Bamarad. Yeah, I've heard a lot of great things about the monoclonal antibodies. The unfortunate thing is that a lot of them have either been blocked or have been limited by various administrations, etc. And it's ridiculous. Super Anime Gamer says, can confirm vitamins are your best friend when you've got COVID. And again, I would say probably when you got anything. C, B12, D3, zinc were what were recommended to us, and take melatonin to help you. That was the other thing too, Super, that I forgot. Yeah, so taking melatonin as well. Yeah, there's a really cool website. I think it's C19 Studies. I think it's C19 Early Studies or C19 Studies. And basically what it has is it takes all, and again, these are all, like all of these are complete studies that are either in preprints, are in the process, or are actually peer-reviewed, or they have all of them marked about what they are, right? Whether they've been peer-reviewed or whatever. And it takes all the different things, again, whether it's from Big Pharma or whether it's the protocols that we, for some reason, can't go into specifics without having to say, talk to your doctor first, but it goes into their effectiveness. And melatonin, surprisingly, is also one of the ones that's mentioned a lot. But yeah, all of those things coming together. Let's see. Digital Remnant says, just published my first video today. Thank you for being an inspiration as a content creator, myself and others. Hey, congratulations, Digital Remnant. Glad to hear that. Your average Patriot nerd, what's going on? Giant Rat says, are you coming to Anime Montessori in Houston? I can't. I've already done enough traveling this summer as it is. And I don't know. That's also, the Dallas drive was already long enough. The Houston drive actually would be a little longer. So probably not. Not planning on it. But again, I've already done my two big trips. I did the Orlando trip and I did Dallas trip. So won't be traveling. Not planning on doing any traveling again until next year. I think so. Here's the thing, Tina. You can actually, I believe they have now actually created mods. You can actually mod people in Odyssey now. And to be fair, there's so few people on Odyssey anyway, there's not much to mod. So I'm just putting it out there. I'm just saying. Curzilla says, Pitch Meeting is one of my favorite series. I love his sarcasm. Barely an inconvenience. Wow, 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 wow. Let's see. Crisco says here, it's actually the second Russo brothers film after the MCU. The first was Apple TV movie called Cherry, starring Tom Holland. Did not hear good things. Well, also, I kind of wonder, like, what I mean by that is, like, fully after MCU. Like, Cherry, I believe, was being made around the same time, whereas this film has been separated quite a bit from it. Abomination says, yet. Yes, there's not a lot of people over there yet. But we could see more. You never know. Especially with YouTube doing what it continues to do. Stephanie B says, I gotta run, feel better. Sanitizer. Hey, Stephanie B, you as well. We're in the same boat, a very similar boat at least. And I'm glad that we're both feeling better. But I've been praying for you as well. Let's see. Fuzzy says, audio is off by around 20 milliseconds. Not bad at all. Can't really tell. Boom! Well, there it is. Abomination then posts the image of the Odyssey mascot peeing on YouTube. I love it. It is always great. Clifton 3D says, reloaded and it's okay. So it sounds like you're having the audio issue. If you refresh, then it's okay. That's what it sounds like. At least according to one person. Joey's movie blog says, Thor Love and Thunder killed my brain. Killed a lot of people's brains. Especially Anthony D'Alessandro. I don't really care. I don't care if I get his name right. But Tony over on Deadline. Who says, something isn't resonating with fans. I don't know what it is. Something's not resonating with fans. It's like you can figure this out. Come on. You can put 2 and 2 together. Let's see. Tina then says, okay, I'm of no help with this wonky keyboard, so you all have a good night. Oh, okay, Tina. Well, I hope that it gets figured out. Because we've been having a lot of issues with the keyboard. I don't know what's going on with that. Because also, didn't you say that it's only on this channel that there are issues? That's so weird. And also, to be honest, I can't even tell because I still get all your messages through and they all come in around the same timely manner. So it's so weird. Let's see. Buffalo Owl says, guess we won't see you for Orlando Part 2 in October. Yeah, I'm not planning on it. Again, if I could make it work, that'd be great. But it's on a Sunday during the school year. So it's a school night for starters. It's a Sunday as well. It's just not a good day for a meetup for me. See, Midwest Sportsnet tagged to say, my wife and I met you in Dallas. Glad we got to meet you while we were still traveling. God bless you. Keep getting good. Thank you very much, Midwest Sportsnet. I appreciate that. It was so awesome meeting people in Dallas. Like, seriously, it was so incredible. See, Brian Barth, hail to you. Coliseum Builders says here, Dr. Anthony Fauci, Dr. Mo Howard, Dr. Larry Fine, and Dr. Curly Howard all went to the same medical school. You can put the same level of trust in all of them. Yeah. And since I've caught up with the chat quite a bit, yeah, I can actually mention saying that, so my doctor, I won't go into more specifics than that, but my doctor actually took classes from Tony Fauci. And let's just say he's got a lot of stuff to say. A lot of stuff to say about Tony. A lot of stuff to say about Tony Fauci. And they're not good. They're not good at all. Let's say the words jail are mentioned. And I don't blame him. And that's why I am not a rah Republican person. But I would love for Republicans to take over this November just because I think that something that should happen is that Thomas Massey and Rand Paul should come together, recruit a bunch of people, and put Fauci on trial. Full out, put him on trial for lying to Congress, put him on trial for what he knew, what he didn't know, what he said, what he didn't say, and just destroy him. Because I honestly believe that man caused the death of millions of people by what he said or didn't say. That's just my own humble opinion. YouTube. Not that you would care about truth. Gary Banjo Sandwich says, in bad dub, Odin in bad dub is very European. Ah, yes, very European, I see. Let's see. Super says, yeah, I had it and my dad was in the hospital and with it and pneumonia a while ago. Okay, now, thank God. And that's what they put him on. Steroids, max D3 supplements, melatonin. Consult your doctor. Exactly, right? Consult with your own doctor before you make any decisions. But yeah, I mean, obviously, when you do get to those further, like when you get further down the line, it becomes a lot more complicated. And that's the reason why, as I mentioned earlier, why I get so frustrated and angry when I think about the things that I'm on right now. It's like, if I'm seeing this kind of effect, it doesn't mean that it would have had the same effect on everyone, right? Because again, doctors are going to prescribe different things. But just to think about, had this protocol been supported and not been blacklisted and not been demonized and not been treated the way that it was, like, how many lives could have been saved? Because a lot of people got no treatment, were told, we can't do anything until you're in the hospital. And by the time they were in the hospital, for a lot of people, it was too late. And then for a lot of those people, it got in their lungs. They were put on ventilators. And for a lot of those people, being on those ventilators is actually what caused them to die. And that sounds conspiratorial. And yet, if you actually just look at the impact of the virus and the impact of certain treatments on the body with the virus, you realize, actually, no, it actually makes a lot more sense. So again, consult with your own doctor, with your own decisions. But I think it's so important for us to be honest, or at the very least to be able to ask questions, to be able to openly ask questions and actually have conversations. And that's why it's also so frustrating for places like YouTube that shut down those conversations, that try to control those conversations. It's like, we're not trying, at least for me, I'm not trying to push people to believe or think something that is any direction whatsoever. All I'm doing is saying, hey, this is what we were told. This is what I have experienced myself. So how do you mend this? Like, how do you explain away the hundreds of people who have been treated by my own doctor, personally treated by my own doctor, or the thousands upon thousands who have been treated by many doctors using similar treatments? How do you explain that away with what we've been told about their treatments? That's an honest question. And it's sad that we live in an age where these giant corporations, giant pharmaceutical companies, and giant government and giant media all come together to try and push just one side. Orange Hat coming in with the jokes. Reloading didn't help. Hey, oh, and do me a favor. Say, Godzilla. Gojira. Run, it's Godzilla. You're welcome. Super. Says, on the topic of Love and Thunder, have you seen the articles trashing the MCU from all the outlets that used to simp for Disney? My fave was Screen Rant. No, I actually, I haven't, but it is amazing to me. Yeah. Again, even on Deadline, they're talking about how there's MCU fatigue now, and it's just like, but even they can't quite hide the fact that they're still shilling, right? When you have clearly something isn't resonating with fans. I mean, I thought it was a great ride, blah 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 blah. And I love how he puts the comments here saying, not as Byzantine. This is from Deadline. Not as Byzantine as Doctor Strange 2 and Eternals. But I'm pretty sure if you go back to his own comments about the films, Doctor Strange 2 and Eternals, he wouldn't have used the term Byzantine. Let's see, Laura, who is a member, says, you got a membership, and you get a membership. Yes, you get a membership, and you get a membership, and everyone gets memberships. Thanks to the lovely low water mark. By the way, I think I must have missed this comment. It must have gotten skipped in the chat. But Gomer Kyle, thank you for being a member at 15 months. And he was able to use his membership comment. And it says, can't stay for long. Glad you're feeling better. Just wanted to drop and say, hail and hello, wonderful friends in this fellowship. Well, God bless you, Gomer Kyle. I appreciate you stopping by. And I appreciate your love. See, Bongo says Fauci lies more often than TNT plays the Beastmaster. That's a lot of times. That's a lot. Joe's Movie Blog. Maybe if Marvel actually made actual movies instead of assembly line products, the audience would probably care. Yes. Maybe. Maybe that is what they would need. We go back to the two films that dealt with the multiverse, Everything Everywhere All at Once and Doctor Strange 2. And back then I talked about how clearly there is a better multiverse movie. It wasn't Doctor Strange 2. It's because that film was able to take the concept of a multiverse and have fun with it, whereas with Doctor Strange 2, even with having an almost infinite number of possibilities, decided to play it by the numbers, and any risks that it did take, decided to pump them full of identity politics. When the only risk you're taking are pushing for specific messaging or politics, you're not doing a good job. See, Jason Ebenstein, gotta disagree with Fauci there. They need to impeach Garland for questioning SCOTUS. Oh, again, I think that here's the thing. I'm not saying, I think we can both agree together saying, no, they need to go after Fauci and they need to go after Garland. There's a lot of people actually they need to go after. They also need to go after Biden. Let's go after Biden Inc. Let's actually go into some questioning here about Joe Biden's son, the Burisma deal, amidst a plethora of other questions. The problem is that I think that's less likely to happen than Fauci or the other. Input latency. Was hoping to meet some friends. I made an online fellowship at the Orlando meetup, but by sounds of things, I'm not going to work. It's not going to work out for me. Very, very sad. No, input latency. If that means that you aren't going to be able to make that trip work, I'm sorry to hear that. But there's tons of people going to Orlando, man. So if you can still go to the Orlando, I would still highly encourage you to go to the Orlando trip, because it sounds like it's going to be a blast. It's going to be amazing. A lot of people are going to be there. But yeah, so I just want to get that and make that clear. Let's see. Cornelius Schultz, what's going on? Hail to you. You're an amazing person. No, you're amazing. Gus says, as they say, if you could save only one life. Yeah. If it's even one extra life that it could have saved, wouldn't that make it worth it? Commander Ed Stracker of Shadow, hail to you, says taking daily CD zinc, B complex, good in general due to low nutritional values of modern fruits and vegetables to prevent bruising and browning in the supermarket. Yep, absolutely. Super says, Confish TV did a video on it. I'll send it to you. Screen Rant's headline was, "It's okay to say Marvel movies are bad now." Okay, yeah, I remember that one. Okay, I remember that one now. You don't need to send it to me. I remember that one now. I'm a subscriber to Clownfish TV, so I don't catch everything that's posted just because, especially the last couple of days, I've been kind of out of it. But I am subscribed to them. Gilly Chow, welcome back. We missed you, especially last night for FNT. I missed being on FNT. I really did. But again, Thursday, I was not in a good spot. Friday, most of the day, I was in a pretty bad spot. I didn't start to feel any better until around the time FNT was starting. And by that point, I was still not 100%. I was not even like 85%, which is probably what I am about now. I was probably closer to 50%. So it's like, yeah, I'm better, but I'm much better than, if we look at the baseline or the lowest of the low being 0%, if I'm at 50%, it's like, yeah, that's a lot better. Still not anywhere close to it. But yeah, right now I'd say I'm about 85%. And if things continue to progress the way that they seem to be, I should hopefully be 95% tomorrow would be awesome. And then if Monday I'm at 100%, we'll be rolling. That just, of course, makes me think about the old Limp Bizkit song, "All right, partner, keep on rolling, baby. You know what time it is." Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's right. I used to listen to Limp Bizkit. Shorty Short, Mata Major General. I went back and watched some OG MCU, and the humor was so much better than the new movies. Yeah, it's amazing how when you go back to like OG Iron Man, OG Thor, it's like it still has like those what we consider now to be MCU humor, but it was tempered, right? It was balanced, as all things should be, right? As Thanos said. But yeah, they've obviously fallen off the boat, and that's one of the biggest problems, of course, one of the many problems of Thor: Love and Thunder, is that the humor in it is so off the charts, is so insane, because that's obviously one of the problems that Taika Waititi has, and that's the reason one of the main things I mentioned in my review, is that it's not really even Thor: Love and Thunder, it's Thor, Taika Waititi's ego. Like, that is what the entire film is. It's his ego on full display. It's ridiculous. See, Cornelius Schultz, who's a member, says, "My girl has even stopped mentioning Marvel films because of how much I dislike Doctor Strange 2. Dang. Did she dislike it as well?" Let's see, Nerdside Cyclops. Doc Tony should have been fired in the 80s, has been given very bad policy based on politics for a long time. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Recommend the book Real Anthony Fauci if you want to have a real eye-opener. Because not only do you get all the stuff about COVID, but you get a lot more about him during the AIDS AIDS crisis as well. And it's quite disgusting. Quite disgusting. Jim Watson, welcome to the chat, good sir. Cornelius Schultz, who is a member, says, Bias time is coming. Fauci, however, he's another story. Lock him up. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. See, Fuji says, my experience with Paxlovid, it worked great, but I rebounded. Yeah. I know that was one that I believe Dr. McCullough had mentioned that one, and I know I've seen some people mention it as a part of their protocol. One of the issues that I saw with it when I was looking at the different studies that were on it was, I forgot exactly. There was something about it where I was like, okay, it looks like there is something not quite, Also, the fact that I'm pretty sure if you look at the basic makeup of it, it is essentially a ripoff of ivermectin, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a brand new thing. So because it's a brand new thing from a giant pharmaceutical company, they can, mark it up, etc. Of course, the big issue is that you'll probably pay less for that than you would for ivermectin because they won't cover ivermectin, and then they're also jacking up the price of ivermectin so they can then try to drive their price or drive people to, buy their new fancy drug. It's ridiculous. It's insane. It's disgusting. JKD76, they need to put Marvel on ice for a while. Star Wars 2, Disney's done messed up. Agreed. Let's see. Super says, Atlanta meetup sounds like a blast, but if you guys are too far south for me to make the trip, do you guys have any plans for visiting more states? Again, I know there's a lot of other visits that are planned for. I know there's a Vegas meetup planned, Houston. Those are the only ones that I'm aware of. I know we're gonna try and get something in Nashville at some point. No plans right now, but I know Nashville, they liked it enough when they were up there for the Terror on the Prairie premiere. I know that Jeremy and Ryan liked it enough up there to say, hey, it might be a good place to have one in the future, but they don't have anything planned. Let's see. Killy Chow says, MCU humor, is Kevin Feige riffing off Joss Whedon's Buffy humor? Probably. Justin Evanstein says, Limp Bizkit, unsubscribe. You can't say that, brother. One of the best, worst movies of this, the best, worst movie of this decade, and one of the best, worst movies of all time was made by the lead singer of Limp Bizkit. Thank you very much. It stars John Travolta, and it's called The Fanatic. And it's so bad, there's a scene where there's a father talking to his son, and his father's saying, you want to hear some good music? Yeah, let's listen to some Limp Bizkit. Yeah, that's right. The lead singer of Limp Bizkit has a scene in his movie where they are listening to Limp Bizkit. That's why it's one of the best, worst movies of this. It's actually the best, worst movie of this decade. One of the best, worst movies of all time. For me, it's the best, worst movie since The Room. Same level. Cornelius Schultz says, listen to Limp Bizkit. I am impressed. Ah, yes. I've impressed you, have I? Yes. Now, wouldn't that be nice? I don't know why I went that route with it. Victor Fontaine, Kristen Meyer took your place on FNT last night. Yeah, I heard about it. I didn't get to watch it. Let's see. Father says, hail to you. You had the Rona. Oh, no. Yeah, luckily 2 days. And because of treatments which have been vilified and demonized, I'm on the mend. Who would have thunk? JKD Buck, Fauci is older than Biden. Yeah, that's an insane concept. We are going to start to wrap things up because we are right around the end of time. Super says, I've actually been rewatching old Marvel 2. Forgot how much fun Phase 1 was. Thor is underrated. Another thing alongside from the humor is the movies had a style. Had a style. I missed that. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Let's see, Father says, would love to go to Orlando, but 1 month till school starts. Yeah, I would love to do it too, but it's also right during the time when school has already started. It's going to be right at the beginning of second quarter, in fact, and it's on a Sunday, Father. It's on a Sunday, Father. It's like I could talk about a lot of other things, but man. Let's see. Joey's Movie Blog says, I'll be having a drink to remember your channel before YouTube gives you a strike. I will have you know, I have been saying consistently, I don't think I've missed one yet, that you must consult with your own doctor. I am not a medical professional. Consult with your own doctor. I have said it to a nauseating degree, in fact, that I think most people will agree with. I'll have you know. So, to my knowledge, I believe that means I'm following their current policy. Bongo says, do you ever review TV shows? Would love to hear your opinion on Farscape, my favorite show. Yes and no. I do sometimes on streams. I've been covering, because I've been watching all of DS9. By the way, I'm getting close to the end of Season 6 of DS9. Whew! Season 6, I tell you, has had some of the best episodes of DS9. So great. So great. Yeah, so I don't do full necessarily dedicated reviews all the time for shows or as much, but let's just say I'm not going to be binge watching any older shows for a while, because DS9 has taken up a lot of my time. Cornelius Schultz, it's a good taking up of my time, but I can't dedicate it to anything else. Cornelius Schultz says, Fred Durst made a movie. Yeah, he directed. He's actually directed a couple of movies, I believe. My wife was watching Sky Med. Our marriage needs your prayer. Sky Med? Wait, what is this? Super Omicron, what's going on? Let's see. Tina says she did a power wash. Of course, you get it right at the very end. Tina says, and I'm still drinking every time he says doctor. Tina, you have to be plastered at this point if that's the case, because you know how many times that I've said that. Laura says, F's in the chat for Odin's channel. No! My channel is fine. It's fine. Starting that one should consult with a doctor sounds an awful lot like medical advice to me. But it's not really. It's saying for you to get medical advice from someone who is not me, but instead who is your own doctor. Your health should be measured in gigawatts. 1.21 gigawatts. Yeah, right now I'm at about a gigawatt. I'm not at 1.21 gigawatts. Giga. I don't ever quite understand why. If I wanted to nitpick, Back to the Future is one of my all-time favorite films. That's when I'd be like, why is it a 1.21 gigawatts? Why do they say gigawatts and not gigawatts? I'm sure there's an answer. But anyway, so that's gonna be it for me, everybody, because I need to go back to resting. I know I need to go back to resting. You're not a doctor, but you could play one on FNT. I love that. But I've been helped by a doctor before, and so ipso facto, I've been helped by a doctor. Therefore, I can give advice. But anyway, I appreciate it. Appreciate all the love. Appreciate you all being here. Tina is all up going, shot. Everybody. Laura then added, funniest MCU line, I don't know if you've been in a fight before, but there's not usually this much talking. That is pretty good. Oh, what movie is that from? I forget. Anyway, Jim Watson, thank you so very much. I appreciate that. Let's see, Soul Assassin. Did you see an article on Twitter about Back to the Future remake as a musical? I heard about it, but here's the thing. There's never going to be a movie remake as long as Zemeckis is still alive, because he's already been very clear saying, nope, not going to happen on his watch. Sherry Allen, for those playing the drinking game, would be on the floor by now with how many times that you have said that you are not. Yes, exactly. Fact. Complete fact there. Jackety Buck, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. Dean Heist, Curzilla, thank you very much. Yes, go check out Tina's channel, so that way you can watch Soup to Nuts, especially when this channel gets crippled for a week. I think it'll be fine. We'll see. We'll see if it's still monetized by the end of it. But seriously, everyone, thank you so very much for being here. Please make sure you smash that like button, loud that fire button if you're watching Odyssey, but also make sure that, again, you check out this channel on DLive, on Odyssey, because you never know. I also put my videos up later on Rumble as well. So I'm all over the place. But anyway, I want to say thank you all so very much for your love, for your support, for all your well wishes as well. Again, it really did mean a lot to see those whenever I could check social media, because again, those first 2 days when I was pretty much out of it, I wasn't really up for checking social media in general or doing much of anything other than just sleep and have my cool cloth. Anyone else, mom, has been like, cool cloth on your head helps everything. It's actually amazing how much it helps. But anyway, it really did mean a lot anytime that I could actually check those things out. But seriously, thank you all so very much from the bottom of my heart for all your love, for all your support, and for being here. So hopefully, with all things being as they should be back to the morning streams this week. I'm going to try to make up the stream that I missed this past week and do an extra OMB Report live stream. So I'm going to see if I can do that either on Monday. It's going to be either Monday, Thursday, or it's going to be Thursday, Friday. Either way, I'm going to try and add an extra stream just to make up for that one. But I should be back to the full swing of things for the stream on Tuesday morning for the Good Morning Asgard podcast, Tuesday evening stream as well, if all things continue to move forward as they are. And also should be able to have my box office breakdown video up to tomorrow for both this channel and for the Geeks and Gamers channel. Anyway, thank you all very much for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, a blessed rest of your weekend as well. And as always, God bless. And now for a huge special shout out to my July Patreon Subscribe Star and Locals members at the Keeper of the Bifrost level and above. First starting off with Brandon, let's go Brandon, Chris from the 80s, who you can check out over on YouTube, Garrett Searles, Heimir Ari Hymason, Jeff Toon, Joe Horn, Jonathan Carney, Laura, the Modern Major General Story, Father, Luca Illick, Orange Hat Reviews, who you can also check out over on his YouTube channel as well. Congrats on recently getting to 1,000 subscribers. Rosetta Allen, who you can also find on YouTube as well. Stan Andrian and Miss Martin Muses, who also has her own YouTube channel. Thank you all very much for supporting me over on the platform of Patreon. We also have my Subscribe Star members, Matt317, Storm Tracker, The R, Fast Reaction, John B, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, J. Alice McCarthy Jr., shout out to you, good sir, and continue that awesome recovery that you are doing. Dean Heiss, J-Rod, the Beer Guru, and ZK-Man. ZK-Man, you can find out over and follow him on Twitter as well. And we also have my Locals members. We have of course, the lovely and amazing Minnesota hockey fan. How about a hockey player? UAB Mad Dog, Mike Jackson for the win, and Robert Barnes, as well as Brett D90. Thank you very much. And my last supporter, of course, is the amazing Tina B, Empress of the Universe, one of my mods on the channel. Check out her new show with my other Valkyrie, Stephanie B, on her channel, Tina B's channel, which is called Soup to Nuts. Go check that out because it is pretty awesome and fun content. Anyway, that is going to be it for all of my Keeper of the Bifrost level members and above. If you want your name shouted out at the end of every video and live stream, please make sure that you check out the top link of the video description. It is w.lo, the Willow link, as I like to call it, and you can find my Patreon, Subscribe Star, etc., where you can get not only shoutouts, but also access to an exclusive podcast that I do with John the Flickpick Flickinger every single month, and also access to giveaways of Blu-rays, 4Ks, etc., all that good stuff. Check that out in the video description. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, God bless.